Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 474.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Massey, and I'm glad that you are here today because here's the thing. When it comes down to it, you know, like I know, when you're trying to build a business, when you're trying to go out there, make your cash flow grow, or do real estate for that matter, there's four components. There's the knowledge, there's time, there's money, and there's credit. And oftentimes, the person who has the money and credit does not have the knowledge and time, and oftentimes, the person who does have the knowledge and time is lacking in the money and credit department. Well, today, I think we're going to help you. If you feel like you're the one that is going, man, I know what to do, I have the time to do it, if I just had the money. If you ever said those words, if I just had the money, I would, fill in the blank. Well, I think we're going to solve that problem for you today, because I know many of our students have already solved their problem with what we're talking about today. And what's interesting is that we're introducing it to you only because it's worked so well for them and others. I'm, of course, talking about Fund&Grow. You may have heard of them, you may have not, but here's what matters. I have with me none other than Mike Banks, who is the COO and Marketing Director of Fund&Grow and works directly with the CEO, Ari Page. They've been doing this for a number of years, and just let this number sink in. Last year alone raised $40 million for their small business clients, i.e. that is you, that is me. If you've ever said to yourself, oh my goodness, how on earth can I get started? We're probably going to answer that question for you today. And what's interesting, Mike comes to us with a very mix of experience. But here's the thing that I want to say to you guys. There's a book out there by Anthony Robbins called Awaken the Giant Within. And you never know when that giant inside of you is going to be awakened. Most importantly, you might not realize that the thing that you're currently doing is actually setting you up for the thing that you're supposed to do. And there are lessons there for you to be learned and to carry on forward. And I think Mike's got some of that for us too. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to listen. We are going to learn, and we're going to take some copious notes as we understand how we can fund and grow. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jay. Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm glad that you are able to make the time, but time is a very precious commodity these days. And nonetheless, before we get too far, let me just say I appreciate what you guys have been able to do for our own students already. And I'm looking forward to introducing you guys to the rest of the Cashflow Diary family.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. And that's what we're here for. We're here to serve and help people get access to funding for their real estate business. So before we get too far into it, this being the first time that you're here, I got to ask you the same question I tend to ask everybody else. You ready? Yep.
All right. I tend to look at today's entrepreneurs a lot like, yesterday's superheroes. So, Batman, Robin, Wonder Woman, etc. And I tend to think entrepreneurs and superheroes have a ton of things in common. For example, as an entrepreneur, occasionally I can imagine myself flying around town, possibly wearing a cape and tights and using our products and services to save our customers. But also like a superhero, an entrepreneur has a beginning. So if you think about Spider-Man, for example, before it was Spider-Man, he was just a kid going to school, taking some photos, and maybe trying to get some pizza money. All right. But then one day something special happens to them, and he realizes, oh my goodness, I have these special abilities, and I get to choose to whether to use them for good or for evil. So my question to you is as follows. Before, Fund and Grow, before helping the small business clients get access to the capital, before, the marketing, the webinars, the joint ventures and partnerships that you do, before all the things that people know you for today, what we want to know is, who is Mike Banks?
Well, I'm just a regular guy who kind of figured out how to make money and how to help people at the same time. I was going to college for a while, and I could just kind of tell it wasn't for me. I didn't see too much potential with what I was going after, and I kind of felt like if I wasn't going to be a doctor or a lawyer, I wasn't really going to make the kind of money that I was looking to make. So I decided to drop out and figure out a way to make money without having to go to school. And so I got into sales and kind of found Ari, and we've been growing this business together for the last 7 years. We went from 2 employees to 35 employees in about 7 years. Been on the Inc. 5000 list for the last couple of years, actually 3 years in a row. But yeah, before Fund and Grow, I was just completely average. My income was average. I was just trying to figure things out. I'm 29 now. Back then, I was 22 and really not sure what I was going to do. But luckily, I just kept looking and kept searching and figured out that I'm really good at sales and business related stuff, and took some of the ideas and concepts that I learned at my previous job, which was like a distributor of bodybuilding supplements and vitamins and over-the-counters and fat burners. We used to make all that stuff in this place that I worked at. And I learned a lot about standard operating procedures there and quality control, because these are things people are putting into their body and ingesting, and the consistency and delivery of that type of service has to be perfect. So I took a lot of that over with me to Fund and Grow, and that's kind of why I feel we're so successful. And why we're so consistent with what we deliver to our clients. We've instilled this into our people here, and that's kind of why we have so many good reviews and just take great care of our clients. But yeah, that's a little bit about me from before Fund and Grow.
So I just want to make sure I heard this correctly. You said at 22 you were trying to figure things out. You're 29 now. Are you saying you figured it out in 7 years?
No, I haven't figured it all out yet. I'm moving on.
Man, I want to take what you're taking if you did.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't figured it all out yet. I just figured out how to make some money. Now I want to get more into real estate and build up my rental portfolio some more, and start flipping houses and maybe move into multifamily in the future if the cap rates ever get any better anytime soon. But
you haven't woken up from that dream yet, have you?
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of what I've been doing lately. Been trying to build a little real estate business on the side, and I've got an assistant. I got direct mail going out. I'm finding motivated sellers, and maybe get a couple of properties and do some Airbnb as well.
Whoa, don't hit me right there, right where it's awesome. Short-term rentals are the thing. I'm sure you know how I feel about that. But I think you're a lot like a lot of the people who are listening, in that they would love to be able to go get more real estate. They would love to be able to make things happen, but they're feeling stuck. And sometimes they're choosing strategies that are not even good for them, simply because they feel like they have a lack of resources. So before we get into talking about how you guys actually get to the resources, you said something that I think is amazing. You said the words SOP, standard operating procedures. Growing up military, I heard it all the time. And more importantly, though, I want you to underscore why, for all of the entrepreneurs listening, why SOPs are necessary. Why have they been so pivotal? Why do you believe that they're responsible for the company's success?
Well, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can't really repeat it and have consistency. So you have to record the policies, you have to record the procedures, and make sure that every employee, everyone is trained on the same thing, so that everyone is acting from the same mindset. And also, like as far as quality control goes, that's another reason why you need those procedures recorded and acted upon, very specifically. Even when it comes to requesting a testimonial or a review, even that piece has to be turned into a standard operating procedure and laid out in such a way that everyone can follow it, so that you actually get results. And that's the same thing. Same thing goes with getting people funding. If we just said, if we just kept it real inspecific, then people aren't really going to get the best results. But we've gone through the process thousands of times, so now each little aspect of each process that we carry out, we've turned into a standard operating procedure. And so that it just allows us to deliver and be completely consistent with every client, so that what we advertise, we can fully deliver on. So it's got a lot to do with your reputation as well, and how many clients you're able to serve, but also your reputation and how well you look online. And that's another reason why I think we've been so successful, is because if we have a client who goes through the program, and let's say one of the procedures wasn't followed, we know immediately, and we're able to reach out to the client and resolve whatever it might be. Let's say that they were pre-qualified for 50,000, but they only got 40,000 or 30,000. We can communicate with the client and resolve that based on all these different procedures that we have. So that's just one example. But yeah, I think the fact that we're successful does come from the efficiency that we've got in place, and a lot of that comes from standard operating procedures and quality control reviews.
But okay, Mike, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment for all of the entrepreneurs that are listening right now. They're saying in their heads, but Mike, standard operating procedures, they're boring. I don't want to do it. They take forever. Can't I just go and sell some stuff?
Yeah, you could definitely do that in the beginning. That's what you got to do. Don't bore yourself with the monotony of SOPs. In the beginning, just just focus on revenue first position. Get yourself in gear to sell and get deals, and find deals and do whatever that takes. And then once you've done it once or twice, then you want to start recording the processes and turn each into an SOP. And then once you get running and you're cash flowing or whatever type of business, whether you're flipping or rentals, whatever, then you record those procedures, and then you can start to hire people and train them to carry those procedures out. And now you're looking at building a business. You're going from self-employed to actually having a business that you can replicate and scale. That's why SOPs are important.
And I hear you, but I think you're a unique mix. In my realm and time in business, very rarely have I seen the chief operating officer and marketing director be the same person. Okay? It seems interesting to me that you have both of those skill sets. I'm saying this to say, I don't think the average entrepreneur, most of us out there, myself included, this is definitely, SOPs is not my strength. No one ever asks me, hey, Dave, can you document this process? No, I could, but I'm probably not the best at it. What would you say it lends itself for you being able to do this? Because if you guys are able to be on the Inc. 500, you're able to scale to the number of employees that you have done, I'm going to just make an assumption that you got it down.
Well, I appreciate that, but I don't do all of the procedure writing down myself. I just
the secrets are coming out now.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said the secrets are coming out now. This is good.
Yeah, like I have an assistant, and I've always had, not always, but for like the last 5-6 years or so, since I've kind of taken over the company, I've been able to just, take my concept and hand it off to my assistant, who is amazing, who can detail it and turn it into a standard operating procedure, so that I can focus on, the revenue generating stuff. Because that's really where my number one focus is, on building partnerships and doing podcasts and webinars and seminars and doing anything online that's related to generating revenue. So, I come up with the concept like, hey, we need to record the process of requesting a review or the process of doing a negotiation with the bank and communicating with the underwriter. What are the best ways to do that? Let's put that, like, every little corner of the business over the years, we've turned that into an SOP. But it doesn't have to take up too much of your time. And I've even started doing this on the real estate side of things as well, outside of Fund and Grow. I've got, like, how to get the tax delinquent list. I've got that laid out into a procedure because I forget. I can't even remember, like, how to do it. I have to go back and read that thing and remind myself how to get it. And actually now I've got my assistant trained on it based on the fact that I recorded that procedure.
Yeah, no, totally get it. And when it comes to building any business, it sounds as though this would be fundamental. So let me ask a question before we get into the money. I got to ask this one thing. If this has been such a basic building block, we'll call it, well, why do you think it skips so often?
Probably because it's kind of a maybe tedious kind of a thing, and it's not completely necessary, like, to really put that much focus on it. Like, you can still get by, you can still, make a couple deals here and there, but I think that's why it skipped over. And for the most part, if you're going to run a business, if you're going to grow your business, you have to, like, record what you're doing. You have to be able to remember. There tends to be a lot of processes. So I think maybe it's skipped over because it's, like I said, it's a tedious thing, and it's not like the revenue generating thing primarily, but it's kind of the foundation of your business. It's like so it's not exactly your business plan, but it's kind of the foundation of what you do. And so I'm not really sure why it would be skipped over, but
but it is. I know.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Businesses don't succeed either, though. Like, a lot of people only get so far. Not everybody's doing 7-8 figures a year, and maybe that's why not every business is on the Inc. 5000 list, is because some of these little things are skipped over, and so they're only doing a couple $100,000 a year or whatever. Whereas if you can scale, if you can record all these different processes that are actually super important, like getting reviews and growing your online reputation and getting that word out, then you can get to the point where you're doing $500,000-$600,000 every month and scale from there.
Yeah. The one of the things I've often told people is that brute strength will get you to 6 figures. Then what you'll need is some people to get you to 7, but systems makes it stable and gets you to 8 and beyond. And it at the end of the day, being able to accurately document those things has always been the challenge, and because it can be fluid, but it's definitely there. Now, one of the things that you guys do, or I would say the thing you guys do when it comes to Fund and Grow is help real estate investors and other small business owners of all kinds get what you guys call low interest business funding. Tell us what you mean by that, and because let's just say that many of our listeners, we've heard the story before. I can get you all of these things. We want to understand what you mean, and how is your story or process, or what's different than what we've heard before?
What's different about getting funding?
Either different about, we hear these promises, we get these emails all the time in our own email boxes about people who say they're able to do it, mm-hmm. but yet you guys have built a business around doing mm-hmm. it, and that's what we're looking for.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we want more. The more, if you give capital in the hands of an entrepreneur, in theory, she or he is going to be able to go out there and provide some jobs and make life better. We want to do that, but we also want to make sure that whatever we're doing is not only on the up and up, but it actually works. And we want to actually understand what you guys mean when you say low interest business funding. Hey guys, thanks for listening as always, and I'm glad that you continue to support with each and every download and subscription and share. One of the things that I want to ask you though is, where are you listening to me from right now? I know some of you, maybe you're on a treadmill, maybe you're washing dishes, maybe you're walking that dog, and some of you are actually in a vehicle driving right now. One of the fun things that you can do, get some of your time back, is begin to living a car-free existence. But even then, it can be a little complicated. So one of the things that I want you to do is I want you to go over to Zipcar. Go to joinzipcar.com/cashflow diary. It's a way that I am able to still go get a car just for a few hours, very, very simply, so that if I have a lot of errands to run and sheets to drop off and running to the short-term rentals, or if I just want to go for a long trip up to LA and back, etc., I can rent a car for a very, very short period of time. And the cool part is I don't even have to pay for any gas. Again, go to joinzipcar.com/cashflow diary.
All right. Well, this year we've been doing like 7 to 9 million in new credit lines established every month for our clients. And the way we do that is with business credit lines or business credit cards. And they come with 0 interest introductory rates, which last on average 12 months, some are as high as 15 months. And the big benefit with that is that they're business credit accounts, so they don't show up on your personal credit report. And with a lot of other like business loans or business financing or business lines of credit, all these different things you've probably been hit with on social media, and you've probably seen emails about getting funding and all these different options. What's different about this one is, for one, it doesn't show up on your personal report, and for two, there's not like a super extensive approval process. You don't have to make you don't have to have $50,000 in the bank and make 10,000 or more every month. Like, those types of things aren't qualifiers. Your income, you don't need to prove income, like completely straight up, but like that's it. You don't have to prove income. It's more about your credit. And if your credit's in good shape, you can get this type of funding within the next 3 to 4 weeks. Now, if your credit's not in good shape, we also have a credit repair company that we could help you with. But that's how this works. It's credit based. These are unsecured business credit lines. We go and we set these credit lines up for you through all the main banks in the country, some of the smaller banks as well, depending on your footprint. And everything that we go after has 0 interest introductory rates. And you can use these accounts for anything. Like, you don't have to, there's no specific use for them. Like with a hard money loan, you're only able to use that for purchasing real estate. But with these types of funds, you can purchase real estate. We actually just had a client go on Bigger Pockets and talk about how he purchased a duplex. And we've got clients doing this all the time. You can send checks to contractors from the credit line. There's a vendor that we use called Plastic that allows you to you charge your credit card with this vendor, and then they send a check out, and you could send that to your closing attorney for escrow for a purchase. You can send it to a contractor. You can also, you can use these types of lines for anything. People use them for marketing, but you can purchase properties with them. You can use it as gap funding. So if you got a hard money loan of like $150,000 and you need, let's say $50,000 or whatever it is to cover the down payment and the rehab or whatever, there's tons of different ways you can use this type of credit. But what differs with what we do compared to others is we focus specifically on business credit with 0 interest introductory rates that last on average 12 months, that do not show up on your personal report, and there's really no income. You don't have to provide tax returns. So for a real estate investor, it makes a lot of sense, because a lot of times it's hard for an investor to provide to provide the proof of income, or some of the investors that are newer, especially if you're newer, it doesn't really matter. You can be a beginner, you can have no business entity established and still get these types of credit lines, as long as you've got about a 700 credit score and up. And if you don't, we have a credit repair company that we've developed over the last 8 years who's super aggressive and efficient at getting things removed. They've removed bankruptcies early. They've removed everything. It just, it takes a little bit of time. So that's kind of in a nutshell what makes us different. Also, we do all the work. We don't this nothing is done by you. We communicate with the bank. We set up the credit line for you. And if, like, let's say you're approved at a really low amount, we contact every bank that we apply to for every single client, and we speak with the contact that we have there, that we've been working with for the last 10 years, and we discuss the application. We say, look, this isn't enough. We need more for this client, and we get increases on the initial approval. So on average, people get about 50,000 when we apply. So some people get 100,000, some people get 30,000. Depends obviously on your credit. And if if you've got limited credit, you get a little bit lower result. If you have stronger, more seasoned credit, you can get closer to 100 or over 100,000, and that's within 30 days. And we repeat that cycle 3 to 4 times over the 12-month membership that we work with people.
Interesting. So when it comes down to it, though, why wouldn't someone go do these things themselves? I mean, it doesn't seem, I'm sure that's a question someone's asking.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
Oh yeah, all the time. People ask that, and it goes back to what I was just saying about how we have relationships with each bank. We don't have to call in and speak to some customer service rep and get the runaround when the application is initially denied. And something that we show on the webinar, we show people the credit tracking view in our customer relations management tool. So in our back office CRM, we show everyone the credit that's coming in every month, and then we show them the daily view. And in the initial column for the auto approval, there's 90% of them are zeros. A lot of times they deny the application, especially for business credit. They deny it off the bat. And it's not until we speak with our contact at the bank and have it reviewed and then processed that way that we get these accounts approved at a large amount. So when you apply on your own, you're lucky to get $5,000, $10,000 to start. But that's what most people would take. Most people would just apply and they would take that, and that would be what they would get. And they would only do it with one bank. We're able to apply with a few banks at one time and get all of them approved at a substantial amount, and not just 5,000. So that's how we're able to get people $50,000 to $100,000 in 30 days of this type of funding, whereas the average person is just not going to do that. It takes time. If you do this on your own, you're on the phone with the bank, sitting on hold, you're getting the runaround, and you're just not going to get the same type of results that we get. Now, am I saying that they can't do it on their own? They can do it on their own. They can still go out, but they're not going to get the same type of results that we get. And that's why, we have like 200 people every month that sign up with us, because we just make it super easy. They don't have to do anything. We get them larger amounts. Like, if you apply, you don't want to just submit that application and get a minimal result out of it. Like, if you're going to apply and have them run your credit report, you might as well do it and get the most funding possible. And that's where we come in. And the fact that we have a negotiations team here that literally is paid a commission, they're incentivized. Every $1,000 increase that they get for our clients, they get commission for that. So they're incentivized to get each client the largest amount of funding possible. And they're doing that. They're following up with each bank up to 7 times per bank, and they're doing a review with the underwriter at the bank. Sometimes it happens in the first contact, but sometimes they have to call in 5, 6 times and go over it with them and check on it and see if they've come to a decision yet, and provide a little more information and whatever the case may be. But that's a big reason why we're able to get this many clients going through the program, is because we get more results than the average person. So
when it comes down to it, how long do you think this? Like, how many man hours does it take? Like, what would someone be looking at? They're, I'm going to do it myself. Or are we talking 2 hours on the phone, 10 hours on the phone, forever on the phone?
Forever on the phone. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, when you say call a bank, I instantly go to forever. Personally, I'm just like, oh no,
let's just crush that one. No, but for real, they can do it on their own. It's just like we know what to say. A lot of our team here is ex-bankers, and they know like how
Ah,
the banking system works. And anyway, how long does it take? Um, for each credit line, it's going to take a couple hours minimum to submit the application, because we do that for you as well. Submit the application, follow up to 7 times, go over all these different scenarios with the bank, and sit on hold. Sometimes you're on hold for 40 minutes at a time. So 2 hours minimum for each application, and we usually do 4 to 5 when we apply. Each round of funding that we do 4 to 5 banks, and we do that process. Each round of funding, we do that about 3 to 4 times over the 12-month period. So if you take 2 hours per application, and we do, let's say, 5, so that's 10 hours of that's 10 man hours. And then you're going to do that 3 or 4 times over the course of 12 months. So now you're looking at 40 man hours minimum. Because that's how long it would take us. But we really know what we're doing. We have the right phone numbers to call. We don't just call into the main 800 number. We can call in directly and speak with the right people. So yeah, is that worth it to you? I mean, I guess it depends on.
well, what's really going through my head is well, it depends. I'm about to close escrow. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe I need to go even faster. So we've talked about what you guys can do for those that find themselves in a more positive credit situation. But what about those who maybe feel credit challenged in some way?
Well, we've got like 30% of our clients are credit challenged, and they still sign up. They're on the webinar, they're at a seminar, and they get the point. They see the picture, they see what we can do, and so they sign up anyway, even though they've got a 650.
So there's still hope, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
there's still some
there's
hope.
still
Okay.
hope, because like I was talking earlier a little bit about our credit repair company that we own. It's not the same company. The company's called Cadem Credit Help, and they're super aggressive. Credit repair is not the best industry. It's, people are like, credit repair doesn't really work. It's a scam, blah, blah, blah. But, these guys, we developed this company and instilled the same types of SOPs and quality control and all that into those employees in that company. And we have to get results for those clients, because they need to come to Fund&Grow to get funding once the credit repair is done. So Cadem has a 4-channel dispute process. They don't just send out letters and cross their fingers. They send out the letters. They do online disputes. They fax disputes, and they do phone disputes, which is the most effective. They will call in and discuss it and get the item removed that way. And that's why they've been able to they removed bankruptcies 4 years before they were supposed to actually come off. The 7 or 10 year rule. They've gotten them off in half the time, basically. And they've done that multiple times with all different types of things, liens, all different types of collections, late payments, any derogatory item. They've been able to remove, and so that's what happens with people who right now, maybe you're not qualifying right now because you need credit repair. Or maybe, let's say, you have high debt right now. You're maxed out on all your personal credit cards because you've been spending money on your business using your personal credit cards, which a lot of our clients do. So in that scenario, what we can do for a lot of people is we can get them a short-term installment loan. That installment loan is then deposited into your checking account, and then you can pay off your personal credit cards so that your personal credit goes down. You're not maxed out anymore now on your personal, and then we can apply for business credit lines at 0 interest. And then we use the business credit to pay off the installment loan. And now the debt that was on your personal credit cards is now on the business credit at 0 interest. So that's something we could do for people with high debt on their personal credit. We can get them a short-term installment loan, move the debt from the personal credit cards to the installment loan, and then get business credit now that the personal debt has dropped, because that installment loan isn't viewed the same as the personal credit cards that are maxed out. The installment loan is completely different than revolving debt. It's not revolving debt. So once the personal credit cards are paid down with the installment loan, now we can apply for business credit and we get you approved. And then you pay off the installment loan with the business credit. And now the debt is sitting at zero interest that was on the personal credit. And you're going to have a lot of business credit left over to use for your business. But the main goal here is to save that 10 to 20% of interest. Because if you're using personal credit, most people, you're at about 10 to 20% interest on your personal credit cards. If you're lucky, 10%, usually higher than that nowadays. So it's ideal to do that process, but that's something that we do for people that have high debt. If you have bad credit because maybe 2008 hit you hard or whatever it is, you've got some late payments. We've seen it all, so we get results for those people, but it doesn't happen overnight. We're not going to tell you, hey, sign up, get with us now, and we'll remove all your negative items in the next 30 days, and you'll be good to go, and we'll get you $200,000. And like, no, it takes a few months. Sometimes it could take a little less. Sometimes it takes more for credit repair to work. But that's the way it is. It's not like we just snap our fingers and wave a wand and it's all gone.
Yeah, totally understood. Now, here's what I know. You've said enough to where, and people have listened far enough to where at this point their interest is piqued, and they probably want more information about what you guys are doing, and you've made mention of this webinar a few times. What's going to be the best way for them to find out more?
Well, they can go to the link that we've got. It's cashflowdiary.com/fund me. And once they go to that link, it's a simple form to fill out. It's like their name, email, phone number, and then it gives you a drop-down menu just to choose what your credit score range is. And then once you go through that, you see a short video, and then on the back end of that video, you'll be introduced to the webinar where we go over and we break down everything that we do. We tell you exactly what we do, and you can then do what you want with that information. Like, we literally give you every step of the process, and we tell you, how we get the large approvals. We give you all those things that we've touched on briefly on this podcast in the webinar, and then also on the webinar we offer a discount. So for anyone that comes through Jay's link, Jay's negotiated this discount with us so that his members get $500 off of our normal price. So if you go through that process, you'll see a short video, you'll get access to the webinar, which gives you all the nuts and bolts, but also we're going to call you. We're going to actually call you and talk to you and see, what type of business you're doing, how much funding you need. We'll go over your credit report and basically provide a free consultation and kind of tell you what you qualify for. And so the name of the opt-in form that you're going to see is the unsecured financing pre-qualification. You just fill it out. We give you a call. You check out the videos and, see if it's right for you. And if
love it.
If it's not, you're going to at least get a boatload of information. Talking to us, talking to our team, you're going to know a lot about your credit. You're going to understand what you need to do in order to qualify, and if you don't qualify, and if you do qualify, you're going to have a really good idea of what to expect in the next 30 days and over the course of 12 months if you did decide to work with us.
Love it. So as we're winding down here, one of the things that I'm eager to ask you is I got to know, because there's a person or persons listening right now who they're standing at what I like to call the precipice of decision. They've listened this far. They've been sitting on the outside maybe, or contemplating their next move. But by listening to you, they go, oh, there's an opportunity for me. Or maybe they just finally got to that point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to try again, or I'm going to try for the first time. But like I know, Mike, is that when we reach these decision points, oftentimes we have a companion, and that companion comes in the form of a voice that often says things like, oh, it's not going to work. And what? You've got bad credit. You're never going to get any money. You know what? This whole real estate thing, what are you really doing anyway? And in fact, some people are related to that voice. So my question to you is as follows. let's pretend that this time it's going to be different for them. Like they're actually going to do what you suggest, and they're going to do so in the next 24 to 48 hours. What would you suggest that they do?
Well, for one, I'd say don't listen to that relative because I've been there, and I've also got that same voice in my head. I had a couple deals fall through on me. I had one under contract, and then I found out that, or the seller told me after they agreed to the price I wanted, they tell me, oh, well, we still have it under contract with this real estate agent, so we have to wait one more month. We thought it was just a couple days, but it's a month. And it turns out I lose the deal. They sell it for $30,000 more than what I had it under contract for. So that caused me to think, what am I doing? Is this real estate thing really do I really want to do this? It's kind of a lot of work. I'm not getting any payout here. Like this is, I don't know. I already make good money. Like maybe I should just have fun in my free time instead. So, I get that, but with this scenario, like this is what we do. Like we're here to help people, and we sincerely care about delivering. We're like, on the up and up with everything. And so I would say, give us a call, at least at least go to the opt-in, check the video out, give us a call, and you'll see very quickly, like we operate with full integrity. There's complete transparency. Everything I've told you so far is 100% what we do, and there's nothing missing. I'm trying to give as much info so that everyone can feel I don't want there to be any uncertainty. So that's why I'm trying to just be completely forthcoming, and I don't want someone to sign up and then they get in the program and they're like, hey, I thought I was going to get $200,000 in the next 2 weeks, and I've only got 50,000. I want everyone to just go through the program and everything to be smooth and no one have any complaints. So that's kind of how I operate. I want it, I want everything to work, and I want people to be happy, and I want to be able to sleep at night and know that the things that I'm telling people are the things that we actually deliver. And I'm at the top of the company, and I'm so that's definitely how we operate here. And we wouldn't have gotten this far and have such a good reputation. If you just Google us, Google Fund&Grow, you'll see our Google Plus account, and you'll see like 150 reviews from people that are verified. We'll go on our Facebook, go on our Better Business Bureau, check us out there. We've got reviews like every other day, every few days. New reviews are coming in, and that's because of the standard operating procedures, because we've trained people so well to make sure that they actually ask for a review after we get someone $50,000 or $100,000. We say, hey, can you give us a review? It would really help us out, and let other people who are on the fence about this, people that are like, is this really going to work? I don't know. Should I do it? Do I have bad credit? I don't know. Like for those people, that's why we have all these reviews, and it really works. It really is something that, if you go and just look us up, like Bigger Pockets, the real estate forum that a lot of you probably have heard of, they reached out to us to set up an affiliate relationship because just people are just going and raving about us on there, and we've got people writing articles about us on there, and there's just tons of positive info going around about what we do, and that kind of stuff doesn't happen if you're not acting from complete integrity and following through on what you promise.
Totally agreed. I want to be the first to say I appreciate what you guys are doing, because obviously you're out there enabling husbands, fathers, wives, mothers, and brothers to become more, to take that shot, giving them, removing that excuse, if you will, from saying, you know what, I can't, to I can, and more importantly, how can I? And you guys are out there doing it, and I appreciate you taking the time to share your knowledge, your insight, as well as your wisdom here with us today at the Cashflow Diary.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today. And, go to that link and opt in. It's cashflowdiary.com/fund me. And we'd be more than happy to help you guys out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's time for you to move at the speed of instruction. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you to go to cashflowdiary.com/fund me. Why? Because you want funding, and you have been complaining about not having it. And now you do. You have a resource. You have an opportunity right in front of you. And the most important thing you can do is to take the next step. So get over to cashflowdiary.com/fund me, because your dreams are waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun talking to you today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.